Councillor Rob Miyashiro joins us to talk about Monday's City Council meeting. So let's get right into it. There was also a big meeting last night, urban drilling, a hot topic in our city, a community issues committee meeting. What was City Council's final thoughts on the meeting? Was it successful?
It was interesting because we've never done that before. This council's never done that before. I'm not sure if any other council has. Deputy Mayor Parker did a wonderful job of trying to keep things moving and keeping the heated discussions from not coming out and having people be respectful of our guests. It was interesting that our guests all had a different area of expertise. Our head city planner talked about the whole process about how we got to the point where our residential area is encroaching on what used to be an open field where there's a well. So that whole thing about the west side, and people are saying, well, why are you guys developing a residential neighborhood by a well? Well, because people want to live in the west side, and that's part of one of our growth areas. The other wells that were there a long time ago, before there was a Ridgewood, and before there was a Riverstone, right, and Sunridge. So he was very enlightening in terms of our responsibility as a city and our planning and how we go about that process.
And what will we see? Is that kind of councils, have they done their part now with urban drilling, or will the still issue be coming up in future council meetings?
We actually heard last night something we hadn't heard before, that if there is an application made by Golden Key hasn't actually applied to do anything. All they've done right now is purchase the rights to drill or explore for oil, right? Because this goes with that whole system that Brenda from Alberta Energy talked about. There's a lease, then a license, and then you do your stuff, and then there's another process. If they do make an application to drill, to explore, we can have a seat at the table at that hearing as an interested party. I think the public needs to keep up the pressure, keep sending the letters in.
Okay, and I'd like to also talk about another hot button issue, which is fire pits in our city. Council's kind of trying to streamline the bylaw.
Well, what we need to look at is how can we enforce a fire pit regulation? As you know, I mean, people want to sit in the backyard, have a brew, enjoy a fire. There was some disconnect, I think, between what was allowed and what our regulations stated. So what we gave first reading to a bylaw yesterday was to include some regulatory issues in with fire pits. Change the times that fire pits can be in operation, I guess. And try to separate totally that whole noise thing from the fire pit.
Now, also speaking of safety, we are in the winter months, and sometimes Whoop Up Drive can be a little bit icy or a little bit snowy during the winter months, and City Council is trying to make driving as safe as possible during these times of year.
We had a really good debate about that in council yesterday, and one of the issues is, do we need to do all this to tell people that it's winter out and that it's icy? Part of the argument was, why are we doing this? Why are we spending this money, and why are we going to spend this money every year in order to warn people that it's cold out and there could be ice in the bridge? And I get that, totally get that. I think one of the things we have to do is look out for the safety of everyone. So if there's a way, and really in the big picture it's not a big cost, if there's a way that we can say ice on the bridge, slow down, and people actually listen to it and slow down, then we'll be okay.
Now, let's not talk about winter anymore. I'm tired of talking about winter. Let's talk about summer and the Henderson Lake Pool. City Council granted some funding for the outdoor pool, and hopefully hoping to have it up and running in summer of 2015. Is that right?
Hopefully. Now, what we did yesterday was we approved the expenditure for an engineering firm to come in and do several things. One is we want to design a new pool, right? We can't do that unless we know that it's going to stay in one place. They're also going to do some design work on some of the new amenities to that area. A lot of those structures are old, and maybe do a little design so we can have a nice outdoor pool that people love to go to. Right?
Well, we can look forward to that. Thank you so much, Rob, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
If you'd like to watch full City Council meetings, you can catch them every other Monday right here on Shaw TV.